Okay, thanks for coming. It's just, we're going to go through just the basics of why the certain poses are looked at a certain way, and then once we're done here, we'll go into the aerobics room, we'll just kind of go through the motions. So it's not about, you know, getting into posing trunks or anything like that, but it's just learning how to properly do everything. Okay, so I just broke it down. Try to cover everything this way if you have any questions. The judging criteria for bodybuilding is always judged on mass definition, your symmetry, and then your overall stage presence of everything together. So you're not necessarily getting points for each one. Some contests, the score sheets are designed that way, but the majority of all shows, it's just they look at the comparison of everybody on stage, and then they see who has the most of these. All right, so everything that's here, though, is based on your overall presentation, how you present yourself. So even somebody's lacking in one of these areas, if somebody else is lacking more than you, then you're going to beat them, or they're going to beat you. But it's going to come down to your presentation of how you show yourself. So if you have a weak body part, you present it better so that you don't always see that. So scoring is relative placement in bodybuilding shows, meaning it's always, you can look up there, even if you're in the audience and you look up there, you can see, all right, there's 5 guys, who's the winner, and who's the guy that's in last, and then you just kind of place everybody where they go. So it's not so much, you know, it's not really complicated. I mean, as far as being a judge of shows, where you look up there, most people from the audience are doing it during pre-judging anyway. Ah, there's the winner, that guy. You know, so it's the same way when it's about judges who are looking up there, a little bit more experience at the same thing, and just working with a score sheet and just pick it. And then you have like 6 or 8 judges, and then once they all pick their choices, then what they do is they take all the scores, they drop the high and the lows from every judge, and then they add them all up, and whoever has the lowest wins. So that's kind of how the scoring goes. And then you have all these different weight divisions and age groups in different bodybuilding shows. So a lot of times people look at a show and they'll say, well, that guy won last year, I'm not going to do that show. But it's not about that guy that won. It's you have all, you can win your class and still be in for the overall. So it's, you know, you want to look at what choices in each show that you have. Can you do a novice, an open, a junior, a masters, grandmasters over 50? There's all these different breakdowns, different classes. Most shows nowadays are all by weight. There used to be some shows that were by height. The majority of all of them that are out there right now are all by weight class. You know, and you don't even know what you're going to end up weighing most of the time when you do a show anyway. So you just look your best and just go in. Don't try to plan to enter a certain weight class. You know, some guys don't want to drop weight right away, and what happens is they end up coming in too fat. So then they don't win anyway. So you just want to get as lean as possible, and then it's usually going to be the best way to go, is just get as lean as you can for a show. And then if you need to fill out, you just eat a little bit more food. So that, but the majority of it's going to be just trying to really see where you're going to come in, and who cares what you end up weighing. It's the day of the show too. The scales can be whatever the scale is. Everybody's on the same scale, so it doesn't really matter anyway. You know, if everybody's weighing light or everybody's weighing heavy, you're going to end up being in the weight class, whether the scale's right or wrong. Everybody's on that same scale, so you know, just come in to be your best shape. A lot of people say your posing doesn't matter, so don't worry about it for the last minute. But really, it's the most important thing, is your presentation. You know, so you really want to look your best. You have to practice your posing. And as a judge, you can tell who's more experienced when you're looking up there. And even people in the audience, spectators that are looking, they'll be like, well, you know, that guy really posed really good. You know, you just notice it right away. Just presentation, just when people come out. And it's just from practice. Certain things we'll go over again and again, is that when you come out on stage and there's a line in the middle of the stage and you have a number on, you're always going to look towards the center, towards that center judge. And that's usually where that line is, and where the best light of the stage is anyway, so you want to stay there. You don't want to run to the front different times in the contest or during your routine. You don't want to move so much from that one area, because that's where all the lights are focused. And then you're going to have a number on. Contestants have a number, and you want to always know the number, because they're not going to call you by name. They'll always call you by that number. Okay, as far as stage presence, it's everything. It's everything when you walk out on stage. Your skin tone, the way that your hair is, the color is the most important thing, is the color. The choice of posing suits, it's really weird when you start doing bodybuilding shows to put on this little tiny suit, and it's very, just not natural because it's so small. And then, on top of all that, feeling funny, you gotta come out and have charisma, confidence, you gotta have the right amount of oil on, and you gotta smile, And if you're not practicing doing this stuff, it's very awkward. Wow, everybody's going up. Okay, so no matter how good your physique is, you must be prepared and polished to get on stage. Your first impression, a lot of this stuff, again, is by experience. People get better by doing these shows the more that they do them. The more shows you do, the better you get. A lot of people will come out, even experienced people, though, you see them come out on stage and they're shaking while they're posing. Even in mandatories, it's really bad to do that. And it's just from lack of practice. People that feel very awkward, it's because they are, and they're not going to look awkward, so they need to learn how to pose better. To be natural in your facial expressions, sometimes you see people come out and they're straining real hard. You see all the time people come out and they're posing and their face, it looks like they're in pain. And you're not supposed to be that way, because it's not how, when you pose, you don't have to really hurt yourself. You're not it's not an exercise. You're putting yourself in a certain way, and it shouldn't hurt. People that try to pose like they're doing a cable crossover when they're doing a most muscular, it really isn't the proper way to do it. You got to pick a song that the crowd will like. A lot of times everybody comes out with the same song. You go to a show and you'll see like 4 people use the same song because it's top 40, it's popular. And they use it right off the CD. And it's just, if you go to a show for it, you'll know it. And you'll be like, oh, not another one. So you want to pick something that's really good and you want to get it professionally made. You want to choreograph your routine, and you want to know each pose. So what we'll do is we'll go through how to choreograph one. Basically, you're picking out 12 to 15 poses that are your favorites and that look the best, and then you're doing transitions in between each pose so that it flows, so that it looks right. And so you want to, when you're competing, you want to give other competitors next to you a lot of space. You don't want to, you'll see some shows where people are crowded next to the next guy. It's not going to help you. In the pre-judging, it's not going to help you at all. It just makes you really look bad. We're putting on oil and tanning products evenly. Most routines in all shows are 60 seconds. Order a little bit longer, but you're always safe if you're making music 60 seconds. If you make it 90 seconds because somebody's show you thought was 90 seconds, it's going to end up getting cut off, and it's not going to look good. So you're better off doing the 60 seconds because it'll work at all shows. And there are some people that put on too much oil. They'll use baby oil when they're coming out on stage, and it's really heavy oil. It clears, and it just makes you really not look good. So we'll go over the different products that they have too.
Class.
What's up? That's free apple. Hey guys.
Yeah, you want me to talk about it? Well, being one of the whitest professionals in Musclemania, it's like we need to utilize all tanning products we have. Tanning creams at the local, like any type of tanning salon. You need to have a nice deep dark tan. Plus, it'll dry out your skin. Most of these. This is Dream Tan. Most of these have an alcohol-based. These are all alcohol-based tans, which you spray on, you paint on. It's right. Usually, you'll probably start on. Clean up, shave your head, shave your face, start shaving your body. Start using this on a Wednesday. say the show's on Saturday, pre-jugging is 12 o'clock. Start using this on, say like a Wednesday or Thursday, you know, just start putting on 1 or 2 coats per day, let it sit. If you feel comfortable, shower off, you know, 1 coat will come off or so, and it all has to come on evenly. Just keep on coating on, coating on, coating on. Even for the more darker skinned athletes, you still got to use a certain kind of dream tan. Now this is prior to the competition day, which would be like on a Saturday, or pre-jugging maybe on other shows Friday. You would use multi-coats of this. Showtime comes, you're gonna switch to a skin cream. This creamer it's an instant bronzer as well. It has a little sheen, has a little glimmer in it. You're just gonna paste it on probably once. I usually do it once before I get to the show at home. You know, just wear those bum clothes. You're gonna have to dress your bed with, you know, old sheets, or even just strip, you know, lay on the couch or whatever, because this stuff's gonna get all over the place. You know, you want to utilize just all the, you know, old training clothes that you have, because this stuff just runs. It gets on the walls, it gets on your hands, your nails, it gets on your knuckles, and it just stains. It's all stained. You know, the darker that you are, the better the light's gonna shine off of your physique. You know, it'll better show your striations, you know, in definition and conditioning. You know, and if you can't see the definition, you know, it's not there. The judges can't see, you know, your whole conditioning, your whole presentation. You know, you got to diet off all that fat. You got to put on a darker coat. Light's going to glimmer off it. You know, the judges will see all your striations and definition. But like during the morning, I usually put on one coat of this at home. You know, rub it in nice. It dries pretty evenly. You just blotch it on, rub it on. It gets in pretty well. It dries well. I usually use a blow dryer before I put clothes on to dry it, and then I'll use another coat right before I hit the stage. My skin is so light, I'll tan for months at a time, and then I'll still put on maybe a bottle and a half of Dream Tan pre-coat, and then still I'll have to use like two coats of the Dream Tan cream. My skin is just so light. You know, from there, you know, so I'm that white boy underneath the lights with a lot of oil on me without any tan. You won't be able to see, you know, any of the hard work, you know, that I dieted, you know, 4 months, rather, you know, for all the judges to see. You know, it's all part of the judging criteria. And as for oil, you know, like we said, there's a lot of products. There's vasodilators, like say Hot Stuff. Some people use baby oil, but that tends to run. A lot of people, which I enjoy, is using the pan cooking spray. You know, pan cooking spray. It's just, you know, usually I have like another competitor friend of mine, whatever, just stand like 3 feet away, spray it, and then I'll walk into it gradually. It brings a nice sheen. You know, make sure it's all even. You know, try to pinpoint, you know, certain areas, you know, which have more striations, like, you know, inside the part of your chest, maybe your triceps, you know, maybe on the bottom of your hamstrings. You know, the light's going to bounce off of that muscularity, and, you know, the judges will be able to see it. These are all good products. You can get them on, you know, any website, the Dream Tan website. You know, they're pretty low cost if you buy them. You know, relative bulk, but they're great. They're great products. Morris or Hugh, they're usually backstage. You need that Dream Tan. You know, who's going to tan me up? Who's got the gloves? Who needs to tan me up? It's like, you know, we're all trying to help each other out. Help each other out backstage. You know, it's like, well, you need more. You know, you need more tan on your lower back. You know, you need more tan, you know, on your upper chest. Well, just goop it on. You know, and then usually for my face, I usually shave that morning. I don't really put tanning product on until that morning. I'll shave first, and then when I get to the venue, maybe then dab on. It's just, you just spot on. I mean, just rub it in so it all comes evenly. You have a nice even tan, you know. So it's all part of your presentation. You know, it's all, the darker your body looks, you know, it's gonna run. You're gonna lose a couple coats when you put on when you put on certain clothing, and the darker you look, the better, you know, the better your presentation is going to be. You know, and don't use too much oil. You know, I've seen athletes, and I've done it myself. Just, you know, spray on oil. You know, you get your body to, I need to oil up. They'll oil up, and just, it's horrible. The light will bounce right off, and it'll look like you're looking right into the headlights of a vehicle. You know, because you can't see. You know, if you want to see your abs, you know, there's light glimmering off of it. You won't be able to see anything. You know, so just, but it's all trial and error. I mean, this sport's all trial and error. You know, or I ate lesser carbs, I ate more carbs. You know, my conditioning I came in fuller. You know, sure, your conditioning, you know, on the day your conditioning will be at its best, hopefully. You know, but with the best tan that you can possibly bring, you know, it's just, it'll put your scores up, you know, higher, because, you know, you'll be able to see them as opposed to other athletes, which tan, you know, whose tan hasn't been, you know, they haven't concentrated on it, just put it on in the morning. I remember one of my first shows, Brian, I just coated my face and everything for like days on tan, and I was black. You know, I didn't understand. You know, I didn't really know the importance of an actual good tan. You can't just lay in a tanning booth for, you know, 15 minutes, you know, a day, and hopefully, you know, your physique will come out, you know, premiere on the stage. You know, it's not just that. It's, you know, it's your tanning booths and your tanning products. You know, plus it's all your conditioning. You know, just diet. You know, if your physique is covered up with a layer of fat, you know, you're gonna oil up some fat. Just show it to the stage, you know, to the judges on stage. You know, you won't look good. You know, we want you at your best. You know, it's a great experience for everybody. You know, it's very enlightening, very, very spiritual for all of us. I mean, me, myself. And I love it. And tanning is crucial, and it's all a part of the sport. You know, and if you need any help, I mean, there's usually some other websites, the Dream Tan. What's that other woman's website that she owns that company? Yeah, Jantana. Yeah, she has that company. She usually has a layout of like, well, just like basically her products of like how to use day by day. You know, starting on shows on Saturday, start on Wednesday or Thursday. You know, shave up, clean up. You know, but use them, utilize them to your advantage. You know, every product is on there, you know, for your advantage, but it's trial and error also. You know, you might use just like one coat and you look pristine, you look fantastic. You know, for others, you know, it takes more work. As a white Irish boy I am, you know, gotta tan it. So I mean, just utilize these, you know, to your advantage. You know, and come in looking your best. You know, impress the judges and impress the crowd. You know, stage presence, smile, breathe. You know, but like as for like he said, shaking and everything. You know, yeah, you could be nervous and anything like that, but I mean, you should be actually, like I said, conditioning your body for posing. You're doing a full body flex for minutes at hand. You know, so you want to just practice every pose every day. You know, hours. You know, say like an hour a day. You know, coming up to the show. It's all stage presence, posing, tanning, everything. Everything's fitting into. You know, the unit as a whole. I don't know. Brian has this all stuff laid out. Do you want to go over this, or shall I?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's
basic. It's all basic.
The two most popular are the Pro-Tan and the Dream Tan. There's the Jantana and like Dioderm are two other ones that are out too. Dioderm came out a long time ago, but more people are using these two here. And the Dream Tan one has become a lot more popular lately because it comes off easier. With the Pro-Tan, it takes a week to come off, especially in your elbows and your hands. It just doesn't come off your body. You take showers and you just see the residue of it forever. But this stuff, the spray one is the same way that Pro-Tan goes on with this brush. You know, what I've always done with people is take it out of this and put it in a little cup. And then, because you can control it better. What you do is you want to get a lot on, and if you're spraying it, you're going to be spraying forever. All these little sprays, and a lot of it's missed it off and you're wasting it. So you take it out and you put it in a little cup, and then you wet this brush, and then you just make sure you get all of it off there because it's going to drip. Put down a bunch of newspaper on the floor. So you have someone like Sean will be here, right? And you're using your cup, you're going in, you're getting it. Start at the neck, and it'll just, you just shaved the day before or the morning of, so give yourself some time because it has alcohol in it. So it's going to sting. So what you do is when you put it on, it starts dripping down, and as it's dripping, you're fading it in. And then you just keep going around. And you work yourself all the way down, your chest, you do your legs. You don't want to use the same posing suit you're going to have for the whole time. Buy a couple of those posing suits, 2 or 3. Or use some really old underwear because they're going to get ruined. So you're on this newspaper and you just keep going right down, and then you don't have to go crazy on your feet or on top of your hands. You should wear some plastic gloves. And this way, because those will be the last things you're going to do. Or the person putting it on you, they don't want to get on their hands either, because it's going to take a while to come off. And then you put it all on and you get the streaks out. So just keep going, going, and going, and getting the streaks out. And you try to go around, like your shoulders, you go around the shoulders, down like this. And the streaks will fade in once it dries. And even when it's completely on and dry, you could even take moisturizer, because it's going to dry your skin out. You can even put moisturizer right over it, and it'll go right in. The Dream Tan, you'll see a lot of people, though, using this. They're coming into shows as white as Sean is right now, and just putting this on. It's a little risky, because you don't know how you're going to look before you go out on stage. So why do that? I see a lot of national shows, the Indonesian guys all come in, they have like this little like olive skin, but when they put it on, they look great, but they're doing it like as they're being called out, you know. So you really don't want to be rushing, trying to get a pump and go out on stage, and somebody's still putting this stuff on you. This takes a while to go on. It's like makeup. It's like this. It's really thick. And you put it on, and you put on like a goop of it, and then you just patting it in, patting it in. It takes a while to get it all on. So like what Sean was saying, you put it on first, then come to show, and then touch it up. Maybe do your face. This way you're not walking around with all this makeup stuff on your face. You know, Mo used this. Now you didn't really care for this, no. Right? You didn't care for it. You gotta see which one you're gonna like better. You might like the Pro Tan better. It might look more natural. This one you might like. This one kind of makes you look like a statue. And there's 2 colors out. This one is the regular brown. Or is this the one with the gold sparkles?
Yeah, that's a gold brown.
Yeah.
Gold brown.
Yeah, there's like 2 types that they have. One really makes you look like a statue. Okay, so the other thing is when you start getting ready to compete, you want to start, and you're shaving your whole body now, shaving your chest and stuff, start doing it like 3 months before the show, because you may get ingrown hairs. You gotta get your body used to doing it. It's really weird. But shaving your legs and all that stuff, if you're a guy and you never did it, it's the weirdest thing in the world. First do it. And but you want to get your body used to doing it, so you gotta start like 3 to 4 months out, and then just once a week, just clean it up again. But before the show, give yourself those few days, you know, do it, give yourself like a day before you start putting this stuff on. But you'll see, even as you get closer, those next 3 days to the show, your hair will start growing back, but it's not going to be noticeable. You can do a photo shoot, and you're not even going to see it unless like the guy's camera was like right up to you. You know. So it's put the Pro Tan in a cup, use a brush, start 3 days prior, you wash off the first coat. Watch for the streaks. Don't use the same posing suit that's on stage. Wear gloves. Stand on paper. Do your hands and face last. You can use a cotton ball just to do it if you use the Pro Tan.
I always remember one thing. The fact that you were able to actually bring your body to that level to go on stage, win or lose, you're a winner, because you would not have looked that well at any other time in your life. So the fact that you're already there, you're a winner.
On stage, know your number.
Well, basically, some people, although they have the number on them, they keep forgetting what the number was. So
Yeah.
you were there, the judges are calling this number and giving you an instruction, but you're not moving because you forgot what your number is. And then one of the handlers would have to come and actually physically tap you and probably wake you up.
Me and Hugh and Jamel Keels were fortunate enough to be the only 3 in the Atlantic Championships for the pros. We were judged gold, blue, and red. Because all of us, we didn't have our numbers on. We just totally forgot.
Yeah, so when you're on that stage, just kind of like get the pizzas and the bagels out of your mind and just think about that number.
Yeah.
All right. Line up in order. You know what? Sometimes that will the stage and then the noise that will kind of throw you up. It's kind of hard to hear when you're on stage. You know, I don't know if you guys ever had trouble hearing like the judges calling.
Basically, but there's a lot of people backstage who'll be calling your number, lining you up, middleweights up, bantamweights up, heavyweights up. I mean, we want to get everything, the show running as smooth as possible. Everybody will be backstage looking for your number. You're back there pumping up, you got your headphones on, sometimes you don't hear anybody yelling your number. You're in your zone, you're pumping up, you don't hear anybody calling your number. But everybody, you'll line up in order. You know, hopefully, you know, you'll be pumped up, carved up, ready to go, oiled up, ready to pose down, be in line, be ready. Line up in order.
Stay focused. Stay focused at all times, because invariably that may have been your first experience in front of such a large audience. All is well, and then finally, there you are in just your little underwear, under the floodlights, and you're overwhelmed. And you forgot for a brief moment how to interpret English. So you're hearing your name and number, but it doesn't make sense.
Right. It's kind of like the what I call it the merry-go-round effect. It's like, I mean, you guys used the merry-go-round before when you were younger, right? It's like everything's just going around and around, and you're just waiting to jump on. It's just your mind's not into it, you know. You just gotta wait for that right moment, and once you jump on, it all flows from there. So, you know, as Hugh said, stay focused. All right. Look, listen. I'm like running a traffic stop.
It's important. Some people have a tendency, instead of looking at the judges, you may have your team of supporters, and you're searching the audience for them instead of paying attention to what.
Yeah.
So it's
But
imperative.
if it's hard to hear them, you want to look too, so you're looking out at that head judge to see, so you can also like kind of read their lips or what they're telling you to do.
Yeah, good.
I have a question about that. You know, how they have like a bunch of people screaming for you or your friends. Is that going to distract the judges, or that going to make them look at you more? I mean, does it have any kind of effect?
Well, to you, yeah. I mean,
Or is it just for you personally?
yeah. You
That's for you. That's your personal.
Yeah.
It pumps you up even
Sharing
more.
crew.
So.
Yeah. Because when you're up there, you're working. Like you're
Some
working,
shows
you're
don't
posing.
encourage that though.
Yeah.
I've been to some shows where the head judge asks the audience to be quiet. We don't do it at our show, but I've been to a lot of shows that actually do that. But as long as the person's not out of hand, you know, we kind of like that the audience is getting into the pre-judging too. We like it that it goes on, especially clapping. You know, but sometimes you could be an annoying person in the audience that's actually yelling too much at somebody, or if they get out of line and they say something, you know, that's yeah, like a boo or something like that is really not accepted.
Yeah, we don't allow the megaphones or the horns.
But it shouldn't affect the judges in any way. We're looking for the best physique in the lineup.
Right. Smile part of the left Mo and Sean deal with that. I'm still learning also.
Trust me, it's not an easy ordeal smiling on stage when you gotta flex every single muscle in your body, and then again, you know, your mouth's dry, you know, and then you know, trying to hold the poses it's a strain. It's a big strain on the body. So practice at home how to hold these poses and smile at the same time. You know, it kind of like it's bringing out the personality a little bit, even though it's kind of like a painted smile. You know, but it just looks more, how would you say? Well,
Pleasant.
yeah,
You know, you're not going to look.
It enhances your personality.
Yeah, you're not going to look aggressive to the crowd. You know,
Right.
you're not going to scare them and everybody into winning a show for you.
Right.
You know, it's just you want to see a very pleasant physique. You work very, very hard. You know.
probably make
And it'll show that you're having a good time.
Yeah,
we
you want
enjoy
to
this.
you want to give the impression that although you're working hard, this is fun for you.
Yeah.
Effortless. You want to make it look like it's effortless.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like I said, when you keep on practicing, eventually the smile becomes a natural smile as opposed to, again, a painted smile.
Yeah.
You know, you see some people on stage that are smiling, but it just looks fake. You know, they're straining, but, you know, just keep on practicing, then everything will just fall natural. All right, quarter turns. Always turn to the right. You'll hear the judges say, quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the right. And I mean, later on, we're going to show you that in the,
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
yeah. So you get a, look at that.
There's always the guy that turns to the left too.
Yeah.
Especially the foreigners,
Yeah.
the foreigners don't understand. All right, again, we just touched on like, as far as like smiling, how to look natural. When you keep on practicing these things at home, it's gonna become natural. Like when I competed, I used to pose every single day. Even if I was in the supermarket, I'd walk around with a carriage. If I'm like in the line, I'd just stand there and just flex every muscle so that when I'm on that stage, it just looks natural, like this is an everyday thing for me. So you just want to make bodybuilding 24/7 for that whole month or two, whatever you're training for, so that everything just looks natural.
Try to incorporate it in your everyday. If you are going to the supermarket. As for me, I'll stand. I'm a high stakes dealer at Mohegan Sun, and when I stand at my table, I stand with my legs flexed. You know, I'll flex them and then I'll relax them and I'll concentrate on my upper body, and then I'll keep that flexed. I mean, it's practice throughout the day, but sometimes when I start trembling and I'm just like, all right, I'm done for the day. I gotta relax.
It might sound funny to you, but everybody has their own little slots.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
me, I'm in this New York City. When I'm on the subway, invariably you don't have a seat, so I have that's where I practice my routine on the actual subway. I have my headset, and my eyes are closed, and I'm going through the motion all the time. What's wrong with this guy?
Every motion, I mean, it's just gotta consistently.
You've got to live this thing. It's got to become a part of you.
Yeah.
Even if it looks like you're being cocky, you can say, hey, are you talking to me? We wake up in the morning and yawn and flex. So, again, just make it, you know, a fun thing as opposed to looking at it as, I'm going in there to work, and it's not gonna be fun. So, just make it look natural. All right, arms down. Is that arms down?
Arms in front.
Sammy with the
Oh, turns, yeah, when they're out like this. Oh.
Yeah, I call that the motorbike.
Yeah. Like a lot of athletes when they're called to do their quarter turns.
Mm-hmm.
You want to demonstrate some judges want to call hands out to your front or to relatively to your side, but they're judging you from the side. But always keep your arms down low so they can at least see your chest and everything, feet flat. I mean,
There's always the guy with the arm out.
yeah, they're always if they're standing here, they're gonna stand like this.
Right.
They're gonna stand like this.
What you want to do, an easy way to do that is just to make it look natural. If you're just turning this way, they say turn to the side. All you do is just a little slight twist. That's it. Some shows they want you straight, but you know, the conventional way is pretty much this.
Some shows would want your hands down,
Yeah.
hands out in front of yourself. You know, some people, like myself, if they want hands out in front, I put my hands out in front, but I'll twist to the side, but keep my hands out in front, in front of my quadricep, but turn to see, right side of my chest a little bit more, squeeze serratus, and keep everything, this whole side of my body tight, and this side.
Do you have to, if you're wherever your face, do you have to look that way or look to the judges all the time?
No.
Look
somewhere down the direction.
Yeah, look straight.
Yeah, see, I got a better way than what he was just saying.
Yeah.
When they tell you that you want to turn to the side, what I usually do sometimes is say, throw my heels this way. No, I turn this way, so they still can see this side. So they still see my right side as well as my, just a straight on view. It's called cheating.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
There's a little.
sometimes you want to put your foot, one foot in front of the other, and squeeze against the The one side, yeah, the hamstring and the quadricep, the one side that the judges are looking at, and it'll expand, you know, and it will turn to the side and keeping it flexed, you know, all the separation will come out, your quadricep, your hamstring, your calves. You know, you'll learn, you know, it's all trial and error. You'll be posing naked in no time in your bedroom there.
If you have, if you're confident as to how your serratus and intercostals look, try to ensure that it's visible. If you're not, if you personally don't feel happy about them, then you keep your hand in a position where they are not seen.
Utilizing your physique to the best of your advantage.
And the thing is that if you don't know how to do these things, another thing that what you want to do is actually look at the pros. If you get the videos, you can watch and see how they do it. You just keep on practicing in the mirror, you know, and you pretty much have to get into that comfort zone with your own body. You know, you have to be there mentally as well as physically. So, you know, you put yourself in a position where you're going to feel comfortable, and that's going to show towards the judges that this is a natural thing to you, you know. So, all right. Oh, we already touched on twisted slash slide, right? Okay, mandatories. Don't waste time like I do. I waste time when I'm up there. That's because I like to add a little flair to it. But I mean, in reality, the judges don't like it. But, and again, it depends who you are too. It's like, you know, sometimes you can get away with it, but you always want to kind of like keep up with the rest of the crowd. I mean, I know everybody wants to show that they're the best, so they'll, you know, hit a pose and pose for like a second before everybody else hits their pose and then spread out. But the danger of that is like sometimes when you wait too long and then the other guys already hit their poses and you're about to hit yours, the judge will call another pose, so you know.
Until you're not experienced, once the pose is taught, you get into the pose. After a period of time when you would have competed on a couple of occasions, you'll have a better feel as to where you actually stand in this lineup, and you will know exactly what you can do from what you shouldn't.
Right. And the pre-judging, you want to hit the poses exactly.
Yes.
I mean, in the night show, yeah, you can leave all that stuff for the entertainment part about it. But the mandatories, you got to remember, they want to get this thing through. You know, they don't feel like waiting for anybody. So that kind of like takes points off. So you want to hit those poses precisely.
You're the first to pose and the last to relax. Keep
More
flex.
work, but
It's more work, but
Okay, okay. Okay. You want to go through?
yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay. You want to come up? I'll show the ladies.
I'm gonna have to run to the restroom first.
Okay, go ahead. Boss, change the tape.
It's easier to grab the.
Ready? Do quarter turns first before we go to these.
All right,
So
all right.
show the quarter turns. All right.
We'll try to explain it, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that's. The line would be on the floor when you come out. So you're going to have your number. It's going to be a button with a pin on it, and you're going to have it on your trunks. It's going to be on. Usually, everybody has it on the same side. It's usually the right side. Okay. So when they come out, they're going to call you by number. So they're never going to say your name. So you just listen. So if your number shows number 1, number 2, so you'll be okay. And then you switch places. They're going to call you out. And when they call your number, raise your hand and step back. And then you can look for who else they called, and you can go in that spot. Okay, so the first thing are those quarter turns. This is where they're looking for symmetry of your body. The judges are looking, not necessarily, you're not getting points on, do you have a better chest to your legs, but they're just looking in comparison to who's in the lineup and then moving you there. right, in their mind. They're not even scoring you yet until they get into the mandatory round. But this is the round where they first see you, so it's actually the most important, because your first impressions when you walk out on stage, and the judges are already saying, all right, I see the winner and the loser. I already know who's going to, number one. Before you even hit a pose, I already know, just by looking at your condition when you walk out. All right, but as some people pose, they get better. So, you want to come out and give that really good presentation. So the first mandatory pose would be the quarter turns. This one right here is the most important one, because they're looking at you and that's it. They see everything. Do you have good quads? Does your chest? What body parts are you lacking? Is your color good and everything? And then they're just looking at this one thing. Is probably the most important of all of them.
This is a relaxed position.
Yeah,
this is a relaxed position.
It's as relaxed as it gets.
Yeah, and you're not relaxed. You are stressed. You are pulling everything, pushing everything out. Tense. Tense as tight as a rope.
This is the most important one to practice.
Yeah.
You're in this one more than everything else.
Yep, exactly. Even if you are not called into a mandatory and set back in front of the first lineup, you're still flexed and you're still posed. You're just stuck. You're a statue. You're fixated in this pose throughout the whole day.
Smiling, of course.
Smile. Look around. Look for your crowd. Of course, look at the judges.
You go quarter turn to the right. Okay, you're looking really natural. You don't want to have this arm out too much. Like you'll see the guys that have this arm way out and they get called. The judge will say, put your arm down.
Put your arms down.
And then when the judge gets upset, he makes everybody just put their arms exactly to the side of their body, because then he's mad. It's not everybody's.
Is that what's better, or like do people who have arm out think that what's better or something?
You're trying to show, you're trying to smash one leg against your other and push your hamstring out. So you're trying to make this one leg look bigger. By whenever you're going to see in these poses, where we'll go through them later, you're smashing your leg to make it look larger. So you're doing that with your foot, and you're trying to make your waist look smaller. So instead of just staying like this, just looking normal, you're trying to make your chest look big, like this one felt bigger than that one. You're trying to make your shoulder look really big. You're pushing this in so that you're making your waist look small by putting a small twist to it. Like what Mo was saying, he puts his feet the opposite way and it turns all the way back. And then you're seeing the hamstring more, which is looking larger from the side because you're really not going to see your quad. And you're just getting away with it enough where you're like you said, you're cheating, but it's what everybody does. So it became the pose from everybody standing like this in the old days.
Well, see, but why would the people who have their arm out far like that, why would they do that in the first place?
They were taught wrong. They weren't
Oh,
Yeah, they weren't.
I thought like
A
maybe
buddy
it's
of
better.
his said that. Man, your chest looks massive when you throw that arm out.
They didn't come here.
Okay, so that's your quarter turn to the right. It's your second one, and then it's a quarter turn to the rear. With this one, you're keeping your heels close. You're pulling your hamstrings. You're tightening your lower back, and you're making your lats as wide as they can. It's okay if you kind of lean forward a little bit, but you don't want to be rounded in your back. You want to still stay straight up.
You want to lift everything up.
Yeah.
Glute's going to drag up into you. Pull your hamstrings up. Your lower back is going to be flexed. Better presentation.
You look for a V taper. You look for a small waist, a V taper, big legs, and a big back. And then quarter turn to the right. You're showing just opposite the other side, doing exactly like you did the other way. Again, a lot of times the judge will say arms to the side. They don't want to see your arms. You can do just a little bit. And with this one, you're just pushing your chest a little bit like this and keeping it in. You're not. That's kind of why they do it, and they think that it's making their chest look bigger this way.
They do it up
But
higher.
if you do it low, you're putting cross serrations in your chest from the side view. So all of a sudden it looks like this person has a big chest, because just like you do with your leg, and you push your arm up like this, you're doing that with your leg. So. And with your chest. So you're doing your chest like this and your leg on the bottom, and you're tightening your tricep. So you're showing more symmetry of your body. Then it's quarter to turn to the right, back to the front, and they're going to say relax, and then you're still in the pose. That your relaxed pose.
Yeah,
You never
this is your
completely
relaxed
relax.
pose.
So in between every single mandatory pose, when they say relax, you're doing that. So now the first one you do is the front double bicep. And your arms should be parallel to the floor. All right. A lot of times, people will grab their thumbs like this, so you're not seeing them, like up as you're doing that. And you're curling your wrist back, and you're bringing your elbows up. There's no set way for your legs, so you can really do what you want, you know. And you'll see the difference between how a guy would do it and a girl. You can just put your leg out or keep it in. All right. So front no bicep.
I do it a couple different ways. So.
Yeah, sometimes I would raise up to flare out my lats first, and then I bring down, pull my fist as far back as it can, you know, to enhance peak. Plus, well, basically when I want to hit this pose first, I work from the ground up.
Yeah.
I'll grab the floor with my toes, and then tense my legs, tense abs, reach up, tense lats, pull biceps last. Right straight from the ground up. And then concentrate on everything.
That's when you start shaking a
This
little
is
bit.
horrible.
Sometimes I will put my foot, depending on which leg I feel looks better, whatever mood I'm in, I'll put my foot out in front of me, and then flex from feet up, and then just.
Some judges would basically, in your first mandatory comparisons, want you just straight up and down. But when you're switched up and you're posed against other athletes, that's when you can put, you know, a twist in it, show more abs, serratus, bring it up, you know. But if you're comfortable with just the basic, you know, just do it. Utilize your own physique to your advantage. You know, maybe twist abs to make that classic S shape, or you know, or just blow it out, put a pointed toe out, show quadricep, show striation everywhere.
And most of the times for the bend, they will want first you kind of heels together. So you bring your heels together, but they're not touching. They're about 2 inches apart. And then whenever you do these poses, you're putting your toes out at an angle, which gives more of a flare to your legs. And then you hit the pose. So you're doing your legs first. Set your legs, do your upper body, and then remember your legs again while you're in the pose. Because you might not keep the same flex to your legs as you did when you first set it. But you always set your legs first, then hit the pose.
And you'll hear, and you know, hopefully your friends, you know, out there will help you, is that when you're posing, you know, you concentrate on this front double bicep, you know, but then you relax your legs. Your friends will hear it, so legs. You hear legs, abs, legs, abs, biceps. You know, it's all confusing.
And breathe.
Yeah, you gotta learn. Yeah, you gotta learn that. You know,
There's the 2 ways to do this pose too. You can keep all the hair in your chest and stay big up top.
Yeah.
But some guys, you know, they're not as big as the biggest guys. So what they'll do is they have really good midsection. They'll tighten down.
Yeah.
So they'll
Tighten.
make smaller, but you're going to see all their abs.
yeah, you're gonna see your abs.
The majority of the time, most people look good when they do it. Just vacuum it in, keep
some
everything
create-
big, and just stay big.
Create a vacuum. You know, it's classic, like a Frank Zane classic. Create a vacuum and then blow it up. I mean, it's not really showing much ab definition, you know, but
It's not really an ab.
It's not an ab.
You're better off looking bigger.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Okay, the next one is the front lat spread. So this one is usually, when they first call it, they usually say heels together if you're going standard, you know. But it actually, I think the MPC IPB didn't have a lat spread for a long time. I don't know if they put it back. So, you know, but it's showing your V taper. It's you're coming with your elbows out. You're kind of doing. What I tell a lot of beginners too, like act like you're riding a motorcycle. You got your thumbs out like this.
Hook your
And
thumbs.
you touch them behind you, and then just come out until you're at your sides.
Bring them out.
Yes, a lot of guys will do it, and they come too much, and their elbows are like
Some
this,
of them,
you know. And
it's not too much like this because it's concentrating on, you know, squeezing their abs. It's a lat pose. It's almost like a double bicep pose. Breathe in and pull it out. You know, you're concentrating on underneath here. You know, front lat.
you put one leg in front, just a
Put
little
one leg
bit,
in
the other
front,
one, but you don't want it to be
to the
too
side.
crazy, too obvious, you know. It's just that little bit.
Yeah, just a little twist. You know, if you're comfortable like that.
It's one of the hardest poses to do for your first pose. You know, learning poses, it's very difficult. Next one is abs and thigh. You can put either leg out, or you can even switch a leg, but once you set it up, you can kind of just stick to that pose.
Yeah.
And again, once the judge calls and they say abs and thigh, you're going to just boom, go right into the pose.
Dive a crunch down. Put your heel out.
heel or toe down. If you have a really good sweep to your leg, you're going to probably put your toe down. If you have a really good teardrop right above your knee, where there's a lot of muscle right there, but you don't have as much of a sweep, you'll see those guys go heel down. Because then, right at your teardrop, you're going to see a lot more definition for those people that have that kind of muscle. And then, but if you have a sweep, then you can go toe down and kind of stick your leg out with a turn to it.
Usually, you know, for a gentleman like myself, usually I'll just shake it out just to show the crowd how massive my quads are. But it's just all presentation. Flex, like Brian said, toe down, hands behind your head, breathe out.
And lean it back.
You
see a lot of people, the lights are coming straight down at you, and they're leaned over like
they're
this.
leaned over and you won't be able to see.
All you get is a shadow. So when you lean back, your lower abs, you'll see everything.
Everything will come out, you know, learn your breathing techniques, you know, small ways, contract your abs, toe out, you know, and all at the same time, your biceps are flexed. You know, you're flexing your abs, you're flexing your toes and your quads at the same time, flexing this leg also.
I'll turn my leg just a little bit, once, twice, and then just stay flexed. I don't move around a lot, only because it ends up, you take away from the overall picture.
Yeah, you want to imagine like when you're hitting these poses, somebody with a camera can take a picture of you and you're just staying in it.
Yep.
You know, you get people in this one that they're going and they're moving, they're doing this.
They're twisting,
It's not, yeah,
they're twisting,
it's
turning their legs,
yeah.
and turning their legs to show the judges both sides, but it's just hit your pose, stay in it until they say relax.
Next one is side chest. So you're going to do your favorite. And this one, some organizations will have you do both. So practice both sides so you go to a complete circle.
Yeah,
But with this one, you're going to just basically say, do your favorite side chest. You can go either right side or left side. So it's completely up to you. So with that one, you turn to your best side. You're going to put your toes into that instep of your other foot. And you're going to squash your hamstring over the next leg.
Yeah.
So you're not really tightening your legs a lot. You're leaving it loose so that your hamstring can get squashed against the other leg.
Yeah, you want to fit, say your knee underneath your teardrop, and it'll smash it against the leg and it'll bring out. Just keep your calf flexed. Bring out your hamstring. You know, you want to clasp your wrist,
your rib
hand
cage. You come in with the other arm
into your rib cage, and they're looking at this is a right side chest. This is this side of the chest. And you want to bring it out, and you're just smashing your bicep into this side of your chest, creating the striations and all that to pop and everything. If you're comfortable with turning out, you don't want to crush it all in. You want to turn to just have all of this side visible. Plus everything right here is flexed also. And smart.
We need to be
Yeah.
extra careful
Yeah.
and pushing up and over so that you're seeing this side of the muscle and the striations there. So you kind of want to get up under and just kind of
Yeah.
push everything
Find your comfort
up,
zone. Bring
but
it
make
up.
sure.
Yeah, bring it up and under and over. Boom.
Yeah, you want to stay big. A lot of guys, you see some guys sometimes they're like this.
Yeah.
Where did the guy go? He's tall. No, it's just a little tiny thing. You're trying to compact it all, but it's not good. The more air you keep in your chest, and the bigger you get like this, you dwarf the next guy next to you. So it's about staying big, fill yourself with air, and then staying in the pose large. Where if you do this, you just make yourself half the size that you were before.
Like I said, work from the ground up. Spike your calf to the side. Make sure your knee is tucked underneath your teardrop, that leg. Clasp your wrist. Just come over, smile. Look at all the crowd, and be comfortable. Be comfortable. So,
Are you crunching your abs though, or do you have an arch in your back?
what I usually do is I'll blow out. I'll deflate, and I'll keep my serratus tight. Everything is tight. I don't don't want to hold my breath because your wrist, passing right in the middle of it. blacked out sometimes when I've posed, too hard, but luckily I haven't fallen over. But just you find your comfort zone. It's just anytime I do a side pose, I breathe out just to pop my serratus, my intercostals, my abs, I've done 4 of these mandatories. I'm going to ask my friend Hugh Ross, everybody, to come up here and do the next 4 while I take a break. Sweating. Yeah.
Side tricep. Again, it's either side, your favorite side tricep. Right? You are spiking a calf. You should grasp your wrist with the other arm. There's some people do it open-handed, and it's really more of an optional pose, not really the mandatory pose. The mandatory, you're supposed to grab your arm from behind or grab your fingers from behind.
So basically, your lower body is in that same position that you were in when you did your side chest a moment ago. And now you're emphasizing your triceps. And to do that, you force the arm that's visible to the judges all the way down to bring out maximum muscularity. And once you reach back here, and you grab, whether it's the wrist or the thumb, you use opposing force. This one is pressing while the other one is pulling it. So that enhances the appearance even further. And one thing guys always keep forgetting, they want to see the judge. But if you try to see the judge, you're going to be hiding your triceps. So invariably, I would strongly suggest that you pivot just a little bit to actually show all the judges what you're displaying. Okay.
I also just turn my shoulder a little bit so that I look a little broader on the top, and it actually makes my waist look small, and I'm able to show some of my abs with that as well.
It's all illusion. So you want to really squash your leg again, do the same thing, and you can either grab something
I
from the
grab
back
it, yeah.
and squash it against your body, and your arm should be perfectly straight down. You see some people do it like this, but that's not the mandatory pose. That's the optional pose.
Keep that one for the night. And sure you do the perfect one when you're doing your prejudgment.
Rear double biceps.
Okay, rear double bicep is almost the opposite of when you're doing your front double bicep. This one invariably sometimes, depending on whatever organization you are competing in, they may want you to have one of your leg extended, showing the hamstring and calf at the same time. So, as Sean indicated, you do not pose from the ground up. You actually, whichever leg you choose to extend the rear, you just touch the floor with the toes, compress forcefully the toe against the floor, which brings out the tension in your calves, and then you actually for want of a better term, you sit on the hamstring. If you float it, meaning if you shift the weight from that leg onto the next one, it takes away from the detail. So after you would have anchored that toe there and applied pressure against the toe, you then sit into the hamstring and that pops the striations out. But when you do that now, you continue into the pose. Some people come straight up into the actual pose. Some people will actually try to bring out more muscularity by going into like a military person will, and then mention the fist and you come back going into the pose. Now, Brian can probably explain. If you try to show maximum weight, you will take away some of your muscularity. So you have to find a balance between maximum width and the contraction to bring out both. What I mean is, once you go up here and you come down into a tight contraction, to get maximum contraction, you'll have to squeeze the scapula together. But that takes away from your width. If you try to expand it, that takes away from all of the detail. So you've got to find the medium between the two. Over a period of time with experience, you'll be able to find what works best for you. So, it's up. Now, go right into the pose. Next up, we have your rear lat spread. Low body is in the same position that you were in when you did your rear double bicep. Similar to when you were doing your front lat spread. You reach all the way back. Some guys have a tendency to, if you have it, you can actually show striations in your lower back, what is commonly referred to as the Christmas tree. To do that, what you do is bring your elbows very forcefully back to the rear while trying to squeeze your scapula together. And you sit. And that brings out the details in your lower back. It takes a lot of practice. Initially, when you're practicing this at home, it has a tendency to actually lock up. So you have got to practice repeatedly over and over. Then, next thing is elbows all the way back, thumbs up, lock into position, exhale, and bring your lats up. There's a tendency for some guys to lean forward. You do not want to do that. Remember, the judges are below you. The last thing you want to remember to do is just lean back slightly. It's like presenting a wall for them to look at. Okay?
If you're, the one thing that I did when I first started practicing posing was I got 2 mirrors. So you set one up so that when you do your rear poses, you can see yourself. You can see how the flexing is coming. So you can get those $5 floor mirrors at Walmart or Kmart or wherever. So I would recommend that.
Lastly, we have your hand and hip most muscular. Basically, sometimes some individuals, depending on the judging panel that you're in front of, they would want you to just stand with your toes out. Some other panels will permit you to have a leg extended. So whichever one, you start the pose from the floor. Tension in the entire lower body, bring out the striations, muscularity, and quads, everything, and then you go into that position where your thumbs are forward. You actually flex the arms, lock biceps, lock triceps, bring out the lat a bit, and then sit down lastly while exhaling. So you try, what you're trying to do is to look as large as possible while showing the details at the same time. So, that completes
There's more.
all right.
Touching on everything.
We have a couple of optional poses here. These comes up once again, dependent on where you're competing at. These can actually be added to your mandatories or replace some of the mandatories that you've been taught about a short while ago. Or it is a very good thing for you to learn about this and you can incorporate them into your night routine. So, for your crab most muscular, the idea here is to actually go into a position where you can show total muscularity with emphasis on your trapezius. So, similar concept, maybe a leg extended. Inhale, you bring out your traps as much as you can, you lean forward, and the last thing you want to do is exhale so that unlock into position, and the closer you bring your fists together, the more the traps are enhanced. It's important for you to find the right angle that you will want to lean forward to so as to enhance the appearance as much as possible, and you can get to that by viewing yourself in the mirror over and over and over again.
Ladies, we don't necessarily have to do that, but another option for us is to actually keep your hands together, which is another most muscular pose that I think, depending on your physique, can look much nicer and really enhance it more. And what I'll do is I will just, again, put my leg out, either one, and then I'll inhale, blow out, kind of flare my lats, and then press down. And everything just kind of just tightens up. You bring it down. Keep your hands lower than your abs, pointed down so that everything is showing here.
For the intercostal twist, this can look exceptionally well if you are pretty much on target in terms of your contest prep. And the idea here is actually pivoting slightly to the side. You have one hand extended overhead. You can actually, if you want to, hold the back of your head to add to the tension. And the idea basically is to pretend that you're lifting your hip using the power from your intercostal only. You can actually rest the other hand on your hip to display muscularity in the other arm and exhale at the last moment while actually trying to use this muscle to pull this part of your body and this one together. So there's that compression, you exhale at the last moment, that brings them up. You pivot to the left, pivot to the right.
You utilize that in a lot of your one of your favorites, I know.
The overhead victory, I think that came into effect since the era of Sergio Oliva. It looks simple, but it's not a very easy pose to master. In actual fact, it looks excellent if you're having properly developed forearm. And the idea is to actually go into a pose where you're showing the muscularity in your lower body at the same time vacuum, lat spread, and at the last minute you flex or supinate the wrist out so as to bring out the details in your forearm, biceps, triceps, and everything. Here again, the emphasis should not be much on your abs. Create a vacuum and make yourself look larger than you actually are. And you hold your pose there.
Shoulders up, pull them down. Shoulders up, keep them down.
No, very rarely would I suggest for you to bring your shoulder up. When you in any pose, when you bring your shoulders up, it has a tendency to look as though you're choked.
I use that one in my routine. I like that one.
And they can ask for this from a frontal view or from a rear view as well.
Hamstring. Hamstring, again, you could do from the back. You actually, you would kind of turn to the side. You would put your weight on one leg. This is how I do it. And I would just kind of lean forward. You just want to make sure that you're flexing.
Most of the
It's
time,
hard. That's
females
tough.
have a tendency to
Yeah.
do that. Guys shy away from actually doing the actual flex. So basically what most guys would do is, once you plant the toe on the floor and you anchor it there, it's like, first of all, you use the calf muscle to assimilate, as though you're pulling the toe to unloose that anchor. That develops tension from the calves that's transferred into the hamstring, and the last thing you do is then sit in it. And that makes them pop out.
Yeah, that pose can either be straight to the back, like this, but yeah, again, you see most of the people do the opposite leg, the side like this, and like, so you see the bicep of it. So it depends on how the head judge calls that one, but it could be either way. Then the leg displays to the front, either.
Yeah. This is
Sometimes ask you to do both right and left.
yeah, Sean likes this is his own plan. Sean likes doing this one all night. Yeah, basically, you like Brian said, you can do them both. Sometimes they would like individually, where they actually deliberately tell you left leg forward, and then they say right leg forward, depending on the judging panel that you're in front of.
You can do anything for your upper body. You can do a pose. You can do hands on hips.
You bring out
You want to do something.
whatever you want. It's not just a relaxed thing for your upper body, although the emphasis is on your legs. You also are doing something to bring out details in your upper body while in this particular pose. Calf display. Once you're backing the panel, they can ask for left, right, or both. Some judges ask you to get up on your toes and stay in that position. Like, right. Some judges actually ask you to go up there and stay. It looks simple, but now you're on stage, you suddenly discover that it's very difficult for you to stay up there. you're constantly off balance. You can't seem to understand why is it you just can't go and tiptoe and stay there.
Practice it. It's not called. I mean, I haven't always had it called, but if they do, just be ready. So practice it. The balance is tough.
Know in advance where you're competing and what are their requirements. That helps. So that gives you an idea as to what you can emphasize your practice on. But outside of that box, practice everything.
About setting up a routine. I would recommend always set your music up for 60 seconds. If there is a show and they say you can do 90, you can do it, but again, make another copy at the same time so you'll have a 60-second version because most shows will be 60. Have your music professionally dubbed. A lot of times you go to a show and the music will mess up, or somebody will show up with a cassette tape or something. And it's just, you want to have it on a CD now, a high quality CD. A lot of times people have the music burned, and you better play that CD in a lot of players and make sure it works. If you're only playing on one player and it works fine, you get to the show and they have this big setup, but that disc won't play. So now you have to use something else that they give you. So you want to have something that try that CD in a lot of different versions because there's different types of CDs that they have that aren't going to be compatible with all the different players that are out. Once you pick your poses that are your favorites and you're going to add them in, count between. You know, if you have 60 seconds, break it down. So you know, okay, you're going to start, are you on, every 5 seconds, you count to yourself and you hit the next pose and then you work to the following pose. Know how long it should take in that transition to get to the next one, then hold that pose. And once you go through, you have your routine. And then just put it to the beats of the music. So you try to hit the poses on the beats and it looks even better too. When you see somebody that really has their routine down, and you're in the audience, it just really looks great. Props are okay, but try to limit them. People that use props through the entire routine, it just kind of takes away from their physique. It's overdone. Yeah, it's just, and it could be corny. You want to do something that's really going to add to it and just make it exciting. A lot of times people use soundtracks, and they'll have a really cool soundtrack, and there's something that goes with their routine. They'll come out and they'll go, oh, okay, this routine is that. Because you know the little bit of the prop is Superman's have a cape, but then they get rid of the cape. They don't leave the cape on the whole time, otherwise you'll be like, that guy's crazy.
One of the things, I would just be aware if you decide to compete in different organizations, find out if props are, because there's one organization that does not allow props. And I've seen competitors be reprimanded for actually using them, so just to be aware of that. MPC.
Yeah, they even don't let you wear, some organizations for your posing outfit, which we didn't touch on either, I kind of forgot, but your posing outfit, if it has a lot of sparkles on it, sometimes that's not okay. So you want to find out if, especially the women, the posing outfits usually have a lot of crystals and stuff added in them, and some of them won't let you wear that in the pre-judging part of the show. So you want like a plain suit and bring that with you just in case.
And no jewelry during the day for women for bodybuilding. So like maybe a wedding ring or like studded earrings maybe, but just no jewelry because you really don't want it to take away from your physique and your hard work. At night it's a little different with sparkles, but it's always a safe bet for women bodybuilders to wear just a plain suit during the day and dress it up at night.
Make very smooth transitions from pose to pose. And once you see how it goes, you go to some shows and a guy does a front double bicep 3 times in a row. And it just doesn't look good because he probably forgot what he did or he's making it up on the spot. You want to go and see a performance, and you want to have somebody that's really going to be out there to show it off. It just adds so much to your presentation. Whether it's scored or not, the judges are probably looking, they're probably watching, and it could make the difference. And in your overall presentation, you want to be very polished when you get there. It just makes you more of a complete bodybuilder when you're competing. So choreograph your routine and practice it. In some routines, you'll see people that do this, and they do this, and it's like a lot in the routine, if your routine's good and they like you, they're just going to yell for it, or there's nothing you can do for that audience. But a lot of that isn't really going to make your routine great. So a lot of times it's starting to get overdone now. Too many people are doing that. It's not making the crowd go crazy. So you want to really try to do it with your routine and what you have together first. And you know, some people, if they do that once in a while, it can get a crowd going. But when a lot of competitors are doing it over and over, and that is the routine, that's what it becomes. Just them running around on stage, doing this and doing this. You know, that's not the routine. You know, it's not the focus of what you're doing. It's because you didn't put anything together to practice, and that doesn't count. So, you know, the routine is really what you want to focus on. Stay in the best light. A lot of guys in the routine will act like a guest poser and they'll run to the front of the stage. Well, sometimes there's no lights at the front of the stage. Because when the stage sticks out a little further than when the lights come down, and there's no spotlight on you that moves with you, nobody's going to see you. So you want to stay in that section. Move across and move across. But just remember to kind of look and know where the best light is. So if you know your routine moves around a lot, just make sure the lighting is adequate for that. Tell the DJ what your cue is. At our event, we always ask people before they go out, what's your cue? Are you going out to the music? Or are you going to get out there and have the music start? So know when it is and tell that to the person before you go out. Or even write it. Get a nice CD with a white label. You don't want a CD that is the original CD that has a big label on it without your name. Put your name, your number, and what your cue is right on there, so that they're not going to mess it up on you. You know, and sometimes there's mistakes. Sometimes things happen. You get out there, the music doesn't work. Just walk off. You know, just walk off, or just continue posing to the wrong music if it's okay music. If it's similar and your routine works to it, just do it. Nobody will know. It looks better than getting mad. If you're there and you're mad on stage, again, like you said, you're being judged automatically once you're up there. People are in that audience are going, that guy's kind of a jerk. That's what they're thinking, you know. So you don't want to do that. You want to just be respectful and walk off and then do your routine again. They'll get it right and send you back out. So if the DJ messes up, be professional. Mark your CD clearly, and 15 to 20 poses are recommended for a good routine. You know, don't practice a 2-minute routine and expect to be able to do it on stage, because it's not going to happen. You got to just stick with the, you know, a basic routine and make it good, with good music, with a little bit of you know, your acting into it, and just make it really good.
And just remember that this is the part of the show where you're the person in command. This is where you own the stage. This is where everybody is forced to look at you and you alone. You're not being compared against fellow athletes on stage at that time. So that 1 minute, it's like your 1 minute of glory. So you want to put on a show. Find the right balance between music that you think the audience will like and music that will enhance you. For example, Kevin is a big guy. You wouldn't want to see Kevin on stage with some little flute and violin. Sean, you see Sean with his piercings and earrings, we expect heavy metal. You don't want no Sunday evening stroll. So find the right music that the audience will appreciate, which will keep them entertained, plus it will make you look good. Transitions. We have definitely, I'm sure Brian's going to discuss that. Know of a way from here to here and how to get to here. You don't want to hit the pose and then waste time in shuffling around. No. Transitions are very important. So that will be brought up later. Very important.
You want to add drama to your routine, and I've always been told that it's the beginning of the routine and the ending of the routine that people remember. So you want to really pick your best poses and put them at the beginning and the end. The dance is okay, but you don't want your whole routine to be dancing without posing. You know, and it can be really good. If people break dance and the whole audience gets into it, they love it. But if the whole thing is that, then there's no posing. So you want to just try to have a balance to it. People have the music professionally made and they put a voiceover into it with something funny, and it's hysterical. And the audience loves it. So if you can take something and your music stops, there's a little voice that comes out and says something funny, it's hysterical, and everybody just, they really like it, because they know you put the time in, you thought about your routine, you made it funny, you entertained the crowd. Again, props, if you use them just at the beginning as a teaser, it's good. You know, you use them the whole time and it gets overdone. Movie soundtracks are good music. Stay away from anything with swear words. You got an audience there with family, people are showing up. You don't want to have music playing that you shouldn't be playing. You know, and people should know that, but you always get a few that play it anyway. And it's not respectful to the people in the audience. Get help with your routine. If you're not an entertainer, get somebody to give you an idea and help you. Video your routine and watch it again and see if you actually like it. You know, because it may look good on paper and you may have all your poses down, but then when you look at it, you go, well, I gotta change this and put something else in there. And then you can really view it from another perspective. The pose down is part of the show that's entertaining for the audience, but it doesn't count. Like when they get the final group out, like the final 6 guys that are in the open and they're judging them through the mandatory poses, and then they have to do a pose down with music playing, either 30 seconds or 60 seconds, it's not for the judges. Sometimes, if they're unsure, they may still be looking up there, but they're not looking at how good you pose down against the guy next to you. But it's entertaining for the crowd. Some shows you go to and they don't have it. It's missing something. The show's missing something. So when people pose down and they make it fun against the next guy, it's a good thing to watch. It's funny, you know, and it adds a lot to the show. But you don't want to bump into people. You know, it's not about going out there and you know, moshing against the next guy and knocking him off the stage. You know, it's really uncalled for. You want to do it, sometimes they'll look at each other and they'll point at the certain body part, and then somebody will shake their leg and point at the next guy, and it's really funny. But the people that are in the pose down are people that have already either won their class, or it's right before the trophy presentation that night. So you've already been judged, you're going out, you're going to get your trophy, but they say, okay, give us 30 seconds to pose down. And you run out there and you want a free pose and look like it looks good. You know, so you don't do the same poses for 30 seconds because you didn't remember what you're going to do in your little pose down part. But it's not judged, and it's still something that looks great. You're out in front of the audience, so you want to also do something that looks good and represent yourself well. In the trophy presentation, you never want to look upset. You may not be happy, you know, somebody just beat you, you know, but it doesn't really matter. The whole show is just about you getting in shape, going up there, having a good time. It's a little trophy, you know. It's your friends and family may say, "Hey, you should have won." You know, they may get angry. But you just want to also be respectful of everybody there. You can leave mad, but don't let it show. Don't let anybody see it show until you're home. You know, still don't let anybody find out that you're mad. And you don't have to go on message boards and write, "I was mad." You know, it's not worth the time to do that. Keep smiling, take it in pride. Always shake hands with the person next to you. Don't walk off the stage because you're mad. You know, smash your trophy backstage or anything like that. It's just, you'll have, people won't watch back. You know, even though you probably won't want to go back, but if it's a good show, you might want to go back. And then there's people that say, "Oh, that guy's not a nice guy." So there's only one winner in all the shows. So because of that, there's always going to be people that are upset because they didn't do well. But you just go out, try to have fun, to just get in shape and enjoy the whole process of it. When the show's all said and done, so don't try not to go crazy and go out because you're, like Hugh said, your stomach's not used to eating all those foods, so you're going to get an upset stomach if you go out and eat cheese on a pizza because you haven't eaten cheese in 12 weeks. So it's going to bother you. But try to set up and try to take photos. Try to get your pictures taken. Buy the DVD, the video. Buy the professional pictures from the photographer that's in the front row because he's going to have the best shots regardless. Don't wait until your friend who is sitting in row 10 with a little camera was taking pictures of you because they're not going to come out good. So the tanning is going to be hard to come off after the show, but even the next day, you know, do your most to take pictures and to really have that. You know, keep a journal of what you did because it's trial and error. So if there's different things you have to change, you want to look back and you don't remember exactly what you did, you're going to try something again, you may do the same thing, and then you're not getting ahead. So it's always about learning and improving. When you do the photo shoots and you go to these shows, if they're big shows, there's going to be weird people that show up that like this stuff. That, you know, just make sure that they're legitimate photographers, legitimate people that are going to be taking your pictures so it doesn't end up anywhere you don't want it. Okay? Or these guys are weird people.
He has the press pass.
That's always good. The skin stuff is going to, you know, right, even with dark skin, you're going to put on stuff to enhance it. You're going to go tan it. It's going to tighten you up. It's going to be hard to get it off you, but keep your skin moist because you're going to be rubbing it off with like loofah stuff and trying to get it all off your skin, and just keep a moisturizer so that, you know, you don't break out and stuff like that from it. And that's it for this part. So we're going to just go through practical, and we're just going to take you guys through the stuff so that you can, you know, get a feel for it. All right, so just in 5 minutes we'll all go to the